Hi, everyone. I'm Aaron Fisher. I'm the founder and CEO of Atlanta Rescue Dog Cafe, and we are a humane education nonprofit organization that's based here in Atlanta, and our programs serve participants from all over the world. In fact, our most recent program reached students in more than 20 countries and on 6 continents. The whole purpose and mission of our organization is to promote safe and humane animal practices and responsible pet care, and to encourage people to go into, as you'll soon see, careers in animal welfare. Our goal is to keep pets from ever becoming rescues and winding up on the streets. And we want to encourage people to have loving, positive human-animal interactions and know how to safely and responsibly care for their pets. So we're going to dive right into our program today. Again, it's Careers in Animal Welfare, and I hope you enjoy it. Our goal for today is obviously to get you to start thinking about various careers in animal welfare. And as you'll soon see, it's about careers beyond just the typical or the obvious ones. So just a little bit of background about me. My current position, as I said earlier, is that I'm the founder and I'm the CEO or Chief Executive Officer of Atlanta Rescue Dog Cafe. And we don't take in and we don't adopt out dogs, nor is there an actual physical cafe yet. That's something that we hope to achieve within the next year or so. Previously, I both worked and I volunteered in the animal welfare field for about 12 years. I worked in various shelters. I had volunteered in them here in Atlanta, in Arizona, DC, overseas, and really enjoyed my experiences with them, but also saw a few issues that gave me some concern or some pause, no pun intended. And that's actually why I started this nonprofit organization. While I was volunteering and working in shelters, and prior to that, actually, I also taught elementary school for 7 years. I taught 3rd through 5th grade. And in another life, I actually was a foreign service officer with the US State Department. Basically, that means that I was a diplomat. Some things to think about. We want you to consider a career in working in animal shelters or working on behalf of or with animals. And that basically means animal advocacy, doing things that benefit the well-being of pets and animals in our environment and in our societies. We want you to understand the value of volunteer experiences and the role that they can play in helping to determine your career paths. And this last and third bullet point, is going to sound kind of funny, but it's all about people. And what we mean by that is you can be the best animal trainer, best obedience trainer, the best, you name it, in the world in your respective field. But unless you can communicate clearly, concisely, in a convincing manner, and really speak to people, you're going to have a difficult time. So it's really all about developing solid, positive people skills. And these images that you see here are just a few of the pictures from our humane education and community building programs that we run in schools during the year and in camps during the summers. Some statistics we want to impress upon you. On average, almost 8 million companion animals, that means pets, enter shelters in the US every year. Almost 4 million dogs and just under 3.5 million cats. Almost 3 million shelter animals are adopted every year, and about 650,000 or so are returned to their owners, or what are called RTOs. There are a number of animals that wind up staying in shelters from year to year, and then unfortunately some do eventually get put down, or what's called euthanized, hopefully given a dignified end of life in shelters themselves. Again, our goal as an organization is to prevent the pets from ever becoming rescues and entering those shelters in the first place. And you can see down below, the source of these statistics is from the ASPCA, or the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. An important statistic in considering whether or not to go into a career in working with animals or working on their behalf, this just shows you that over the past 25 years or so, this line graph, animal welfare, the pet industry, has experienced a growth of 4-fold. That means it's quadrupled in revenue. So in 1994 alone, the pet industry was taking in about 16 to 17 billion with a B, billion dollars per year. As of 2019, that number topped 80 billion. That means if you want to go into a field working with or on behalf of animals or pets, there are going to be a lot of career opportunities for you. There's going to be a lot of growth and hopefully a great way for you to make a wonderful living that you really enjoy doing. So what do you think are some possible careers working with animals? If you have a pen and paper with you, if you have your notes on your computer and you just want to jot some down, take a minute or two to do that. And these are just some pictures of some of the pets from my life and some of the places and experience that they've had a wonderful time. And I just want to highlight that for a second. So I'll let that sink in while you're jotting down some examples of some possible careers working with pets. We're going to go on to our next slide. So career areas. We've got to think differently. And what do I mean by that? For so many people, they think, I love animals. I've got to become a veterinarian. I want to cuddle puppies and kittens all day. This is the only field for me. Well, that's not necessarily true. And that's kind of what we're going to be going into today. Yes, veterinarians are an obvious choice and a wonderful and very fulfilling career. Most people don't know, however, that it's actually harder to get into veterinarian school than it is to get into medical school. The reason for that is that there are fewer veterinary schools and so many people who love animals think that this is the only career path for them. We're not trying to discourage you from becoming a veterinarian. It's a wonderful career path, as I just said. We just want you to think about other career paths as well so that you don't become so laser focused on becoming a veterinarian. And then once you get there, realize, maybe this wasn't the best career choice for me. If you're someone who loves to plan parties, throw parties, go to parties, and do all the organizing, all these rescue organizations, all these shelters, a lot of these animal welfare organizations have people that are actually called event planners. They're the ones who do the party planning. They're really strong with social media, communication skills. They love to write. Many of them love to take great and engaging pictures or videos and really know how to engage people through various platforms, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, keeping up with the latest and greatest next social media platform to use, how to post photos around the community, or really talk to people to get them to come to your event, to maybe do some fundraising, to raise money for your organization so that those animals can get adopted. Maybe it's to help animals get adopted themselves. Maybe it's an event where you're just trying to raise awareness for the organization or the rescue group itself. But either way, many of these shelters and rescue organizations have people who are professional event planners. So if you love animals and you love to plan parties, you're really strong with communication, you like to write, you like to use and take wonderful pictures, especially on social media, this is going to be a great, great career path for you. If you're someone who loves money, if you're someone who loves the whole business side of things, maybe you're thinking about getting your bachelor's in business administration or master's of business administration, an MBA, all these shelter groups, all these organizations need to have people who know how to make sure that more money is coming in than is going out. Otherwise, these organizations, these shelters, these pet stores aren't going to be in operation very long and their impact will be very limited. So you can consider becoming a CFO or a chief financial officer of one of these rescue organizations or shelters. It's a wonderful, wonderful career path, especially if you love numbers, if you like accounting, if you like math. So it's something to think about going into fundraising, or what's also called in the nonprofit world, development work. If you love marketing, if you love to do advertising, graphic design, web design, taking great videos and photos, if you're a social media specialist, if you really know how to increase user engagement and the number of people who follow a certain web page or a website or a social media account, maybe you want to consider going into being a communications major in college and then going into marketing and looking to land a job for one of these shelters or rescue organizations, or maybe even one of the big box pet store companies, because they need people who can tell their story. If you want to work directly with the animals, if you want to, let's say, become a marine biologist, maybe you want to become an oceanographer, maybe a dog trainer, or a zoologist, someone who works at zoos, there's a whole field called ethology, which is studying animal behavior. You have to be really strong in biology. You also have to be really strong in working directly with animals. And if that's something you want to do, there are wonderful, wonderful career opportunities right here in Atlanta and anywhere you are. If it's working for the local zoo, if it's working for the local aquarium, if it's even being an animal trainer or a dog trainer specifically, you can really help people keep the pets in their homes because they have a better understanding and healthier relationship with the pets in their lives. This next bullet point might seem pretty odd, but you'd be surprised that there are actually architects now who get a special certification in designing animal welfare habitats, in designing rescue organizations and shelters, so they don't seem like the pound, that place that most people wouldn't wanted to have gone to in the past, to make it a more engaging, well-lit, happier place, a place where pets can roam about freely, have a better quality of life. If they go to the bathroom on the floor, it's antimicrobial, meaning germs won't spread. You have to know material design. You have to love math, designing buildings, maybe like drawing a lot, but you can actually be a specialized architect who gets a certification in designing rescue organizations and shelters specifically. This is a wonderful career if you love to draw, if you like designing buildings and want to work with or on behalf of animals. If you're someone who really enjoys independence, are very entrepreneurial, meaning you want to start and run your own business, and maybe you don't particularly like getting dressed up every day, you like exercise, you can become a professional dog walker or pet sitter. It really requires little more than a phone, maybe or a laptop, getting a lot of experience. Maybe you'll start by volunteering at a shelter or working for someone else who does this to learn how to run this business. And then once you get your insurance, you're licensed, you're bonded, you're insured, there's a very low barrier, financially speaking, to entry into this market. You can walk 6 to 7 dogs a day, stay over someone else's house at night, look after their pets, and you can very easily make $40,000 to $50,000 per year being your own boss and getting lots of exercise. Going back now, as you see here, this last bullet point says you must be as or more comfortable working with people as you are with animals. That goes back to a previous slide where I discussed it's all about people, because unless you're really good marketing yourself, talking about who you are, listening to people, hearing some of their concerns, for example, why they need a dog walker, what they're looking for in a pet sitter, you really want to make sure that people feel comfortable with you. And that's going to help distinguish you to be the best, most successful entrepreneur, dog walker, or pet sitter that you can be. Here are some other interesting careers that you might not have considered in working with or on behalf of animals. And again, these are some of the less conventional, often overlooked careers. So for example, the first bullet point, if you love to cook, if you love to bake, if you love animals and want to combine those two loves, why not run a dog bakery? As you see at the bottom of the screen here, there is a bakery here in Atlanta called Taj Mahound. The woman who runs it has been successfully running her own business for the past 16 years. She's an entrepreneur. She loves to cook or bake. She loves dogs, and she loves doing the marketing. So this is a really interesting, unconventional career path in which you can work with and on behalf of animals. Pet prosthetics sounds interesting. You might think, what is that exactly? So let's say a dog or a cat loses a limb to cancer. Let's say they unfortunately get hit by a car and they need a leg amputated. If you want to go into materials design, if you like working with 3D printing, you can literally design and develop a leg plastic one, obviously, or out of some other material that grows with the animal as it grows or changes according to the animal's needs during the course of its lifetime, thereby enhancing the quality of life for both the animal as well as for its owner. These are fields that are fascinating. And if you're into any of the STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math, or even the STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math fields, these are some wonderful careers for you. Let's say you love computers, you love computer science, you love working with apps and playing around, tinkering, developing apps. There are actually two apps out there. An app, by the way, is short for applications. One is called WAG and one is called Rover. They're basically a matchmaking service between dog walkers or pet sitters and people who need their dogs walked and their pets cared for while they're gone. But when you really think about it, WAG and Rover are basically like Uber and Lyft for a dog walking service. It's a way of matching people's needs to matching them with who's available and who someone might be interested in having come to their home to take care of their pet while they're away at work, while they're on a short trip. So if you want to go into app design and do something with or on behalf of animals, this might be a wonderful field, especially if you consider, like we showed earlier, the pet industry is continuing to grow. More and more revenue is coming this sector's way. So if you want to capitalize on that and take advantage of it, that is a wonderful, wonderful career choice for you. The last bullet point we have here is for engineers and industrial designers. So that middle picture, that little dog does not look that comfortable in that safety belt. This was actually on Shark Tank, and it was one of the product proposals that didn't get funded, not because the sharks didn't like the product itself. They loved the idea. They just thought the execution or the design didn't look that comfortable for the pets. And I think the dog in the middle here would probably agree. So if, essentially speaking, you can build a better mousetrap, so to speak, or build a better safety design harness or belt for dogs and or cats or other pets while people are traveling. Some sharks, some investors, entrepreneurs, or venture capitalists would love to invest in your product. So we hope that that's something that you'll consider. An industrial designer is someone who designs products that make our lives and the lives of our pets better. And you really have to know material design. You have to be able to tinker. You have to go back to the drawing board and keep trying to improve upon previous designs to make for a better product. So how might you pursue a career helping pets? Hopefully today's presentation gave you some good ideas, some food for thought. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We want to say thank you so much for joining us today from Atlanta Rescue Dog Cafe. Again, we're an Atlanta-based humane education nonprofit. Our URL, our social media, and our email are available below. Should you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you again.